Okay, we're coming on 6 o'clock here, so let's bring this meeting to order. We're going to start with invocation, and I believe Kathleen will lead us in that.
So we just thank you, Father God, that you are with us here and that you guide and direct every decision we make, and that you are all about having our city be a clean and safe city. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, let's stand for the flag salute, and please remove your covers. Thank you. All right, we're going to start with roll call. Seth?
Here.
Rob Pell? Here. Joel?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Kathleen?
Here.
Rick?
Here.
And Victoria?
Here.
And I believe we have Indra online?
Yes, here.
Thank you, Indra. Okay, we actually have a start item from the consent agenda that we're going to move forward unless I have pushback from council. We have a council member that is actually out of town and joining us via the internet, so we want to accommodate that she can get a vote in on this before we, if she has any technical difficulties. So if there's no resistance, we want to bring consent agenda item B up to the forward, and I would be looking for a motion. Rick?
I'd like to make a motion to the resolution considering the appointment of Stephanie Nuttall as the city attorney.
Do we have a second? Joel? Kathleen?
Second.
Okay, Joel, hit you first there. Since this is an item that we've discussed before, I'll put it out there. Is any further discussion in this, or would we proceed to a vote? Seeing no discussion, we'll go into a vote. We'll start with Indra online.
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
No.
Kathleen?
No.
Rick?
Yes.
Victoria?
No.
Okay, votes are 5 yes, 3 no, so the resolution passes. Okay, moving right along, we're going to go into public hearing, and I just have to, this is this one, right? This one? Yes.
Second reading, I don't think you need to read it. You don't have to read it.
Okay.
Second reading. We're just asking for a motion on the second reading.
Okay, so we have a public hearing, and this is an ordinance with second reading, so we actually don't have to open the hearing at this point. I would just be looking for council for action on this for second reading. So needing a motion? Anybody for a motion? Joel?
I move to adopt the ordinance amending Development Code, Article 2, Procedure Types, and have it read by title only, second reading.
Do we have a second? Rob, seconds. So ordinance passes for second reading. Oh, sorry, I have to vote on that. My apologies. Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Rick?
No.
Indra? Indra, you still online?
I'm sorry, I'm lost. Is this a motion to approve?
Yeah, for second reading. It's a motion.
yes.
Okay. Indra's a yes, and Victoria?
Yes.
All right, motion passes for second reading.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Grants Pass, amending Development Code Article 2, Procedure Types, adding new public notice requirements for certain land use applications.
Okay, thank you. So we're continuing on for council actions. We have a resolution awarding funds for spring 2025 cycle of the Sustainable Tourism Grant Program. Do we have any presentation on it? Yes. And it looks like we've got a presentation, and I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the public. I'm Dana Pierce of Economic Development Division. And tonight I'm going to share with you the Spring 2025 Sustainable Tourism Award recommendations. The subject is a resolution awarding funds for the Spring 2025 cycle of the Sustainable Tourism Grant Program. This resolution will award lodging tax funds to 7 grant applicants for tourism promotion. It's related to council objectives in the encouraging economic opportunities by designating a portion of lodging tax to fund tourism-related projects and promotions. A little bit of background: back in April of 2023, the City Council approved a resolution to establish the Sustainable Grant Program. In FY24, $35,000 was awarded to 9 organizations to promote tourism activities. In fiscal year 25, $35,000 was allocated for tourism promotion awards to be reviewed in 2 established grant cycles. In fall of 24, $10,000 was awarded to 2 organizations. And then now we're looking at the spring 2025 cycle. The grant review subcommittee scored 7 applications and met on February 18th to discuss award recommendations for the council. A little bit more background: the surplus tourism promotion dollars were identified to establish this grant program, and the criteria was established back in April in 2023. The funds for the program are used to assist eligible businesses and nonprofits with $2,500 to $5,000 each to promote events and services that attract tourists. Some of those requirements of the applicants are to be a registered business with the city, have to be located within the urban growth boundary, with one exception that with an additional explanation, it could go up to a 5-mile radius. That's what the asterisk is there on the page. And then expenses have to be lodging tax eligible, and that's under ORS 320.350. They have to be attracting people from 50-plus miles away or leading to overnight stays. Here are the recommendations that the Grant Review Subcommittee is putting forward. You can see there's 7 applicants here, and the requested amount and the amount that the committee is recommending. For the top 3, which are Operation Rambo, So Ready Southern Oregon Innovation Hub, and Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association, the committee is recommending full funding of $5,000 for each of those applicants. For the bottom 3, the Rogue Valley Classic Cruisers, Blazing Monkeys, Grants Pass Museum of Art, and Grants Pass Active Club, the subcommittee is recommending a partial funding of $2,500 each for those applicants. You can see that $33,000 total was requested under this grant cycle, and we have a maximum of $25,000 to distribute. Here's just a little bit more information about each applicant. Operation Rambo requested funds to promote the Rat Rod Ruckus Benefit Car Show. It's the 18th annual event, and it takes place in September, which is right on the fringe of our busy season. They plan to do advertising throughout Oregon in national magazines and social media. There's also an opportunity for cross-generational learning, which the subcommittee felt was a positive thing. The So Ready Southern Oregon Innovation Hub is interested in promoting Grants Pass Flavors, which would be a campaign targeting foodie tourists to come to town. Their focus was really promoting off-peak season, which was a plus, and also the potential for collaboration and sustained marketing was something that the committee felt was a benefit. The Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association, they want to promote the racing on the road course races. They provided impact data from a previous award. Promotional activities were clearly tied to their budget, and the testimonials they provided were from travelers, so it made for a really strong application. The following 4, Rogue Valley Classic Cruisers, they requested funds for the fabulous 50s Charity Car Show. They have a strong following of participants, and they plan to use the funds for print advertising. Blazing Monkeys requested funds for the 3rd annual 4th of July Food Truck Festival and plan to use the promotional funds for use of social media, online ads, print, and radio. Grants Pass Museum of Art is interested in a traveling exhibit, The Language of Global Headgear. The committee really liked that it runs for several months. They intend to use print media as well. Grants Pass Active Club saw this as a pilot program to extend their promotional reach for the Boatnik 2025, and they would really like to look at some specific target demographics through streaming and social media. The cost implications for this, the revenue source is lodging tax. $35,000 was allocated in FY25 to the Tourism Promotion Service budget. $10,000 was awarded to 2 organizations in the fall of '24, and then $25,000 would be distributed, if approved, in the amounts listed for spring 2025 cycle. You should also know the funds are distributed as a reimbursement upon submittal of eligible receipts. So the call to action tonight is March 5th, and it's at council discretion. Your alternatives are to approve the recommended award, modify it, or deny it. And here's a potential motion for you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council have any questions? Rob?
Yeah, thanks. Could you elaborate a little bit or explain? We've got 2 different car clubs, 2 different classic car show requests, and one is scheduled or recommended to give the full amount, and the other is half. Can you explain how the committee looked at the difference between those 2?
Sure. The committee starts by scoring, and so a lot of times that's where we start, is looking at the scores and determining, which one scored a little bit higher. The criteria is based on the promotional requirements, and so is it attracting people from outside of town? Is it promoting tourism in off-peak season? Certain things like that we're looking at.
So again, any more details on how the scoring for Operation Rambo, why it seemed to get a higher score than the Rogue Valley Classic Cruisers?
I would have to look back at the score sheets to really determine the specifics of that, but we look at various things and we discuss based on what we have on the application.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like Rick?
Thank you, Dana. Could you go back one slide?
Oh, sure.
So at the top line, $35,000 for fiscal year '25, is that based on a calendar or fiscal year, like from July to June?
Yes, that's July to June.
Okay, thank you.
It's fiscal year. The cycles do overlap, though, right? We have the fall '24 is part of fiscal year '25, and then, yeah.
Perfect. Anybody else, any questions? Okay, thank you. At this point, we open up to public comment. If anybody wants to step to the podium and give us voice for opposition or in favor of this, now's the time. Seeing none, thank you. Back to council for discussion and or action.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution awarding funds for the spring 2025 cycle of the Sustainable Tourism Grant Program to Operation Rambo, So Ready, Southern Oregon Innovation Hub, Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association, Rogue Valley Classic Cruisers, Blazing Monkeys LLC, Grants Pass Museum of Art, and the Grants Pass Active Club.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table as stated. We have a second. Joel, any further discussion? Seeing none, go into a vote. Victoria?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Rob, or Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
And Andrew, are you still online?
Yes.
Is that a yes vote?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Andrew.
Yes vote.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next we have resolution authorizing private commercial activity in the public Grasshopper Parking Lot located at 201 Northwest F Street for Mama Bee's Farm LLC. And I will hand it over for a presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, Brad Clark, Community Development. So we have you before you tonight, this request for a use of the Grasshopper Public Parking Lot. The application was filed by Mama Bees LLC, proposing to locate a mobile vending trailer in that lot. It's at 201 Northwest F Street. The purpose would be to sell flowers to the public. The relationship to the council goals is to encourage economic opportunities by permitting a private business to use city-owned property for retail sales. You all no doubt know where we're talking about, but I just throw this map in to make sure. So again, we're talking about the Grasshopper lot, which is at the southeast corner of F and 4th Streets. That is the location where the Saturday Growers Market is held. Mama Bees Farms tonight is represented by Brittany Doyle. They are requesting to use a portion of the lot to, as I mentioned, for a trailer to park on the lot and then to sell flowers out of that during weekdays. There was no duration specified in the application, so Brittany may be able to fill you in a little bit more on that tonight. But the request was to use it just during Monday through Friday between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11. We're talking about page 215 in your council packet if you want to look into some more details. The municipal code of the city of Grants Pass defines this use as a mobile vending trailer. There is a whole series of different types of vendors that are outlined in Title IV. There's itinerant merchants who go door to door. There's ice cream trucks. There's, a number of different types of mobile vendors. This particular one falls under the mobile vending trailer, which is different in our code compared to food trucks, which you can go to purchase prepared food right from the truck. So there is a clear delineation in that. Staff looked at the request. It's very clear in the code that staff is authorized to permit food trucks and other vendors in certain public rights-of-way, but there is not a similar authorization for non-food vendors. So that's why we're here tonight, because there's also no outright prohibition about using public parking lots for non-food vendors. So that's really what brought us here, and because the city council sets the policies for the use of public land, that's why we're here tonight. So it is staff's interpretation that this particular section of the Muni Code could allow for potential use of it for a non-food vendor. There's several parts of the code where it talks about streets, talks about easements, talks about sidewalks. It's pretty clear that except under very unusual circumstances, you can't use for that, but it does not talk about a public parking lot expressly. There is a section there, 140E, that says less than an eighth of the grower's parking lot could be occupied by mobile vending vehicles during weekdays. But again, that reference to an eighth of the lot is referring to food vendors. So, but that could be used as a guide if you would like. 1/8 of the grower's parking lot is 14 parking spaces. So if you do decide to authorize the use, staff would like to work with Ms. Doyle to designate, a specific area. As you're probably familiar, there's kind of a circular aisle in there. There is exit onto F and then exit onto 4th. So from a fire standpoint and just keeping for the general public circulation during the weekdays, we would like to see that. There's a few other things that staff is recommending. One would be not more than 2 parking spaces for this particular use, to only operate between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., to not block those existing drive aisles, as I mentioned. Any trailer or vehicle associated with the business be removed on a daily basis, so rather than just parking and leaving overnight, that they be treated like the rest of our parking lots and the rules that we have there. They would, excuse me, need to remove the trailer on a daily basis. And then finally, no signs permitted outside the designated parking space. That's a rule that we have in other vendors, largely to help prevent, A-frames being put on the sidewalks or blocking pedestrian traffic or taking up other parking spaces with signage. So those are some of the recommended from staff. If you did approve, the resolution tonight is, again, only for the Mama Bees. There is not a change before you to modify the whole code. It's just a single use tonight, but again, the municipal code is up to you in terms of setting those. So if you direct staff, we would potentially proceed and bring back to you, some amendment. In terms of cost implication, so assuming that the license is operating according to the conditions, we really don't see staff incurring or the city incurring, much costs on our own. When I say conditions, that means, they're cleaned up, there's not any debris left. The parking lots get maintained by our staff on a regular basis, and if it's a trailer there or just regular parking, we don't really see much implication there other than, getting the initial setup. Now, there is currently not a fee for this specific use in our fee schedule. This wasn't anticipated in the fee schedule because up until this point, it hasn't been allowed. But if you desire to assess some type of fee for the use of the parking lot, that would probably need to be accomplished through some other arrangement. So, call to action is tonight. You do have the ability to approve the resolution as proposed, to modify it, deny it, and there's a potential motion for you. I think we do have Brittany here tonight. So give you more information.
First off, do you have questions specifically for staff? And then we'll let Brittany come up and give some, or do you want to hear from Brittany before you ask questions? Looks like, why don't you come up and give us a little tidbit, and then we'll ask questions.
Can we have you step right in here?
Oh, up to that one? Yeah.
Hello? Okay. Hello. Thank you guys for letting me be here today. I appreciate it. Thank you, Brad, for giving the rundown on all of that. So I wrote you guys a letter. I'm not sure if any of you were able to read the letter. I'm here a little bit on a bigger mission than kind of what was presented here today. I am here for myself selfishly. I do want to be able to bring my trailer into the town to sell flowers, but I am here a little bit more, not just for myself, but for agriculture and farmers in general. When I read through the municipal code and I saw the code that said mobile food zones that were established, and I saw that the Growers Market parking lot Monday through Friday was established food zone, I kind of had a light bulb and said, I've never seen anybody there. When I went to the city, they said the last council kind of put a kibosh on that and wouldn't let anybody else go there, and that I needed to come before you guys to ask you for permission to do that. I am not a traditional food vendor. I'm a food for soul vendor, so I understand I do have to ask for permission to sell flowers there. But is a mobile food zone for fresh food? Is that up for interpretation, or is that prepared food? Who gets to define that? It doesn't say food truck, it says mobile food zone. Does that mean produce? Does that mean apples? Does that mean tomatoes? Can a farmer set up in the Growers Market parking lot Monday through Friday and sell their freshly grown produce so that our community can have access to local food? I think more than ever right now we need that. So that is my mission. I have other ways of selling my flowers. I do want to be able to do that. I personally, my main source of income is on my farm. I am a destination agro-tourism farm, so I'm a U-pick farm. People come to me, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm on the wine tour, so people come to me and I have plenty of business at my farm. I have a U-Pick farm. So I do like to come into the city where the people are, but I think my heart is for food and for my community, for other farmers to be able to use that parking lot as well. I think it's not very clear in the code where that lays. I kind of talked to Brad about this a little bit, and I think the intent within the city, it is written in the comprehensive fee schedule. It is written that if you grow or produce your product, I don't know if you guys know this, and it's so cool, and when I discovered this 5 years ago when I started my business, I think it needs to be shouted from the rooftops. In the Grants Pass City Comprehensive Fee Schedule, it says if you grow or produce your product on your farm or orchard, the City of Grants Pass will not charge you fees to bring it into the city to sell it. Did y'all know that? Because that's amazing. And farmers in this county need to know that. And I think it would be a huge angle for the city to shout it out to every farmer in this area, because that's rad. So, yes, I want to sell my flowers in the growers market parking lot. I do. And it'd be super cool if I could. But can we find out if farmers can sell local produce in the growers market parking lot? It doesn't say mobile food truck zone. It says mobile food zone. I am not a lawyer. I am not an attorney. I cannot say that I can depict laws in any way, shape, or form. But from a layman's term, it says mobile food zone. And food is food. Who gets to determine what food is? So that is kind of more my mission here. Yes, I want to sell flowers. I appreciate you, Brad, for doing that. I wrote a very long letter to you guys, and I really didn't say anything about selling flowers very much. It was mostly about local produce. So I am kind of confused how we got super off track with that. Yes, I want to bring my trailer into town. Yes, I want to sell flowers, but I can find other places if I have to. I want that parking lot so that my community can have access to locally grown produce, more than anything. So if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Maybe we have questions for other people that have answers. I don't know, but I don't know how this works.
Thank you, thank you. Bring it back to council. Do you guys have any questions for Brad or the applicant? Any questions? Seeing none? Oh, yep, Seth?
This is for Brad. So currently, as it stands, there's no fee charged to any food vendor, correct?
If you grow it.
Well, I'm just sorry. I guess I'm like, even a food truck, right? Like is there zero cost to them to be in the parking lot?
So that depends, as you might imagine the answer, because the food truck, depending on where they locate, there certainly are fees to go through the permitting, and Brittany has also, paid fees as far as a vendor. I mean, it's not that we're not talking about, any fees, but yeah, if you want to set up a food truck, you are still going to, pay some other fees. This particular application, we're talking about the use of the Grasshopper lot during the weekdays. That there is no fee because, as staff interprets it, it just wouldn't be allowed. But I think Brittany and I have talked, and I think I can see both sides.
Any other questions? Victoria?
Yeah. Are there other food vendors who have asked to sell food in that parking lot who are local growers other than the growers market on Saturday?
Not to my knowledge. I'm looking over at staff. No, yeah, I don't think we have.
It's never been available or
Yeah.
an option.
Yeah, it could very much be a marketing thing.
I am very plugged in with the agricultural world out in the Applegate, and it would be very well received. I do know that.
Eric, you got a question?
For this, a question for the staff, as far as the growers market, when that's happening, do the vendors have to pay any kind of fee?
Yes.
What's the deal with that? Can I get some figures, numbers for that?
I believe it's $30 to $50 a day.
Yeah, that sounds right for the Saturdays. I think, don't we also,
And there's
Aaron?
additional, like, yearly fees and there's a lot more fees, like, to be a part of it.
Okay, any other questions from council? Victoria?
Maybe it's just a comment, but the growers market is its own entity and they like contract with the city to use
Right.
the space, correct? Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you for that.
Can I make one more comment that I didn't really touch on, and I apologize? I really think, truly in my heart, that having local fresh produce from locally farmers downtown would be a huge draw for tourism and foot traffic, and bring so much life downtown. I think it really would benefit the local businesses downtown, especially in the summer seasons, in our busy season. I really think it would bring a lot of life in tourism downtown. I know when I travel, I like to shop local. And for the restaurants who can source local ingredients for their food and literally know the farm that sourced, I just think it would be super cool. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thanks. Brad, I got a couple questions because I'm a little confused with this. The call to action here is to approve a license, one license for one vendor with no parameters or parameters to be determined?
Well, we had suggested 5 conditions that are there near the end of the slides. The municipal code also does have some other standards that apply to other types of vendors. So I think we honestly since this is the first sort of crack at this topic, wanted to see, okay, where is this council at? If you think that this is a good idea, then we can work with Brittany to, on this particular one, if you want to also direct staff to, go back, look at the code, bring back some ideas, maybe at a workshop in terms of how we can amend the code, to allow for the broader kind of vision that Brittany presented. I mean, I think there's a couple of different ways, but for this one specifically before you tonight, the 5 conditions that are listed in the PowerPoint was our request.
Okay, now that sparks some questions, good.
Mayor,
Joel and then Rick?
Mayor,
Yeah.
Indra also has a question.
Oh, sorry, Indra, yeah, well, Joel said to let Indra weigh in first, so hey, go ahead, Indra.
Thank you. So Brad, I just want to clarify, even though the code says there can be vendors for 1/8 of the parking lot, we never have had vendors there Monday through Friday, is that correct?
Go ahead.
Well, if you know.
Counselor, no, I don't think the point was that there's never been. The point was that for non-food vendors, that there has not been any clarity put into the code in the last 10 years that would say, yes, they clearly are allowed or they clearly are not. Food vendors would be different.
Have we had food vendors there before?
Andrew, this is Aaron. Yes, historically, when we first drafted this code, it was in response to a desire to have some food trucks and food vendors in that lot, and then along with a couple of other areas. It was utilized for a short period of time, but the past couple of years, there haven't been any applicants for that. So we have not seen a use in that. And what Brad mentioned for council, this is what you do tonight potentially with this specific request. If you do grant this request with the items that are or a modification of what's been recommended, we're looking at potentially then changing the focus. The original spirit was food vendors, food trucks. If you want to open it up, this would be that gateway to start that process. We'd bring something back to you. So how broad do you want to have that interpretation? And just from a fee perspective, I forget what Councilor asked, but the mobile food trucks vending for the location of the growers market, the background check is $10, the license and application is $320, and the annual renew is $150 from that perspective.
Okay, thank you. And one more question, because I think if we should allow one, there probably would be more coming. So I think this question too is relevant. Why was 1/8 of the parking lot decided for this? Was there a reason for 1/8?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here at the time. It was developed in about 16 or 17. So I don't know if Aaron has more background on that.
Yeah, we looked at that during the time. We were also having discussions about the inventory of available parking spots, and it was just deemed at the time that this being a new program, that we would designate that amount of space for the Grasshopper lot.
Does that answer your question, Sandra? Thank you. Okay, Joel?
I just had a question about the parking. In the summertime, the Grasshopper lot's pretty full, isn't it? And parking's limited downtown.
My staff's observation, which, you know, is we do have a full-time downtown staff person, is that there's generally, during the weekdays, many vacant spots. There's 115 parking spots in that parking lot. You know, certainly there are, from time to time, you're going to see, you know, many filled up. But his observation over the last few years is that there's always many available parking spots.
Yeah, it was been my observation, it's pretty crowded. I was wondering, is this a first come, first serve thing? Or, and then what is the relationship with this, with the brick and mortar folks downtown that are struggling to make a living also?
No, it's a good point, Counselor, and I think the point we were trying to make is if you do, as a body, desire to have that explored further, we would probably need to have a more robust engagement with the community to determine things like what you just said. What is that relationship between the brick and mortars and the mobile vendors? Because that kind of outreach has not been done to date.
Right, and it would seem to me that they would have very low overhead compared to the brick and mortar folks.
That's discussion.
That's discussion, okay. I'll be quiet.
Thanks, Joel. Rick?
Are we in discussion?
No, we're in for questions at this moment in time. Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Seeing none. Oh, questions?
No.
Okay. Seeing none, we open it up at this time for public to come up and voice their opinion in favor or opposed to this. Okay. Go ahead and step up and state your name and...
My name is Alexis Smithy. I'm both a Grants Pass resident and the owner of Rogue Florist and Gifts downtown. I came here tonight to express my strong opposition, not on food items. Food items is a total different story. Non-food items is my strong opposition. Like many downtown business owners, I pay rent, utilities, vendor costs, parking, significant expenses necessary just to have a retail location. Allowing a private business to operate on a public property without the same financial commitment doesn't create a fair playing ground. I'm shaking, sorry. In my opinion, it undermines everything that we've invested in, you know, everything we've done to invest in downtown. I fully support small businesses and local agriculture. I welcome fair competition, and I don't see this as fair competition. If it was Saturday market, First Friday, I wouldn't be standing here. But this is different. It gives one business an advantage over others. And a small business, especially like mine, florist business, we are already working off of very small margins. And decisions like this could have bad consequences. Fewer customers, potential job losses. I have 4 employees that depend on the work. And if there's something that is not a competitive market, it could affect their lives, my life, and set precedents for the rest of the other downtown business owners, for other people to move in and not have overhead. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead. And this will be comments for the topic at hand, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Burns, and I'm a county resident, but my husband is a vendor at the growers market every week, and he incurs those expenses. But I know they have a contract with Growers Market, but if vendors can go in there, food vendors, because of course the Growers Market does have food vendors as well, and they don't have to pay a fee, but the Growers Market people have to pay a fee, I don't see that as fair. I think if you do decide, I think they should pay a fee as well. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Brenda Sisson County. I notice on the corners, there are small vendors selling strawberries and different types of fruits on the corners. There is no fee to these people to do that, but yet they're making whatever profit that they make by selling that produce, and it's in their pocket. So that is a competition, and I don't understand why if they could, they're usually on off streets, but as we kind of like roll along in the city, more and more outdoor people are becoming more and more bold. So I think it would be prudent to have perimeters on where, how the people can just go out and sell whatever they're selling when it's in competition to like the florist or another grocery store or whatever it is. I think there should be something guideline in Grants Pass that puts these perimeters to make them clear. Can they do this free-nilly or can they not? And also I think it's not fair for the growers market people to have to pay their dues, and these other people on the streets, they're not. So they're pretty, just whenever, they can go out there and set up their little booth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Ruth Daly, Grants Pass. You had me at flowers. I love them. We need more flowers around, but I'm also really supportive of our local farmers, and I think it'd be great to have fresh vegetables where people can get them every day and not have to shop at the big box stores. But I mean, it may be worth it to give this a try, see what it does, and then have further discussions with the growers market people and how that can work. But it is pretty quiet around there on the weekdays, and I'm all for bringing in more fresh produce from our local farmers, so thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Yes. Comments about the topic at hand?
I don't know. Let me think about that for a second, Mayor. Yes, the topic at hand.
Thank you, sir.
I am 100% in support of vendors coming into our city and offering the public fresh produce. But the other concern I have is just what Brenda mentioned is these vendors that are popping up along the corners of our street. And what really irritates me is the fact that the city doesn't do anything about it. You can't tell me that city employees or law enforcement doesn't drive around our city and see these folks on these corners. But you know what they do is they wait for a citizen like myself or my wife or another concerned citizen to call it in. And at what point are our employees or our city or our staff going to actually take the initiative and do their damn jobs? Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to council for further discussion. And let's see, just go down the road. Victoria, Rick, and then Kathleen.
So I love the idea of having fresh produce come in and flowers come in, and I love the idea of exploring how to get our local farmers to be able to sell easily to our local businesses. I think that would be so wonderful because local food is really good for health and nutrition. But I'm really concerned about the competition that was mentioned with businesses who do pay have all the expenses of a brick and mortar store. So I think that while it's a wonderful idea, I would love to have, to maybe instead of moving for this resolution tonight, to put it to a workshop to try to explore, you know, fair competition and to explore just maybe even opening up even different avenues for our local farmers, including flower farms, to be able to bring their product to our local businesses. So I don't think I would be in favor of it tonight because of the concerns of local businesses and the concerns of the growers market. But I would love to see how we could go forward, making it work somehow for everyone.
Thanks, Victoria. Rick?
I'm also in favor of possibly looking at the idea of a broader use, going to a workshop, and also including the community, the people downtown, and look at the whole picture as we go forward. Thank you.
Kathleen?
Yeah, so I was glad, Brittany, that you were really honest about saying you don't really need the business, and that the fact that nobody else has really put in an application for this. I tonight probably would not be in favor of it. Also, in regards to these corner store sellers that we've been seeing, I've reported them as well because I don't think they're in a fair market range, and I've noticed that they've disappeared. When I've made my phone calls, they have disappeared. So I'm thinking that our city is doing a good job of keeping them off the corners. And yeah, tonight I probably won't be in favor of this.
Thanks, Kathleen. Eric?
Thank you for coming and sharing your presentation. My take on it is that, you know, we've got some businesses that are struggling right now. The florist that came in, thank you for coming in and sharing your story. I think it's important that we keep sight of the overhead that a lot of the businesses have. I'm in favor of that. And I'm also in favor of what Victoria was mentioning about a workshop to bring a lot of these farmers markets back in. Tonight, I will probably not be voting in favor of it. As far as, I had something, as far as perhaps the flowers, maybe some kind of special deal could be made with the local florist, and you could provide just a small suggestion. It doesn't have to, obviously, I'm just putting that little bit of word out there. So, but yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Eric. Seth?
Yeah, thanks, Brittany, for the presentation. Yeah, this is a tough one, obviously, right? I'm all pro-business, and I would agree with kind of everything they said. I would like a workshop on, you know, what it could look like down the road. I will say a few things. Yesterday at the Tourism Advisory Committee meeting, we were talking about downtown vacancies, and there's roughly 27 vacant commercial units downtown right now. So that is, you know, one of those things that ideally we can get some of those filled up. And then I also received an email from a local downtown merchant, and one of the things they mentioned was, you know, potentially being open to this on special occasions like First Fridays or other events that are happening in downtown. And then the last thing I'll say is I'd recommend reaching out to Main Street Grants Pass. I think they could be a vital player in this. Also, I think putting together some kind of community discussion with Main Street Grants Pass with the downtown merchants and kind of coming up with a game plan and bouncing ideas off everyone.
Thanks. Rob?
Yeah, I agree with just about everything that's been said so far tonight. I just like to provide just a little bit of historical perspective on that particular lot. So the way that lot got developed and improved from being a dirt lot, which is what it was a couple decades ago, was not through the city paying for it. It was an LID. It was a local improvement district. So it actually was the surrounding businesses that paid their money to improve that lot, to improve parking in downtown. That's the origin, and that was the original intent. So this was not, again, this was not the city of Grants Pass. It was essentially at that point given to the city, but the money was, or the improvement, I should say, the improvements were given. So that, we should keep that in mind. You know, just to go over some of the fees that a brick and mortar would pay, of course, we pay either directly if we're a property owner or through our rent. We pay our city taxes, we pay our public safety levy, we pay our public safety utility fee at $36 or more a month. And, you know, if somebody essentially gets a free spot in that lot and they need police assistance or fire department assistance, police and fire show up and they do their job and the vendor in that truck gets it for free, when the rest of us, business owners, are paying for it, and everyone else. So there's some real inequities with this concept. You know, I have absolutely no problem with Brittany or someone else if they wanted to rent some spot in somebody else's lot, a private lot. You know, the library's got that big lot now on K and 6th. There's a food truck there. That might be a good spot for it, for a rental of one of these trucks. But the other thing that no one's really brought up too, as far as there's we'll say a lack of a level playing field for downtown merchants that have to pay all their fees, and a food truck or a flower truck or any other business there, but also other property owners. So there are property owners who own food truck courts and so forth, or property owners that rent parts of their property for maybe one single food truck. Well, they would also be in competition with the city. And, you know, so now not only are we, which is not a level playing field, the city they don't pay taxes, you know, so the city can afford to rent a spot there for dirt cheap, where someone who's paid a lot of money for their property can't afford to do it. So there's a lot of inequities there that would make it impossible for me to vote to approve this tonight. You know, we also, you know, and yesterday I went downtown and actually we talked about some outreach, and yesterday I did outreach and I spoke with both flower shops, Alexis and also Greg, and of course, you know, they saw again right away that it could affect them, but I spoke with some other businesses and their concern was, well, what could be next? You know, discount shoes or discount, you know, whatever their business is as well. Someone who has less overhead. So there's a lot of things that would have to really be lined up to even consider this, and none of that has been addressed tonight, so I'm going to be voting against it.
Thank you, Rob. And we've got Indra had some discussion.
And sell their produce all in one building, and that might help with the downtown brick and mortar to actually have a space, so maybe that's an idea. Thank you. So I would be a no vote tonight.
Thank you, Indra. Anybody else? Joel.
Well, I join, I guess, the majority on what they're thinking, and I'm thinking we need to make a motion tonight to not approve the Mama Bee's Farm at this point in time, put it on the agenda for the future, see what we can do to make things work and be more equitable. But I'll make a motion to not approve the resolution tonight on Mama Bee's Farm, and to have a presentation in the future.
Yeah, Joel, you can make a motion as to be more specific to the resolution, which would be to deny the application for the license.
Okay, I make a motion to deny the application at this time of Mama Bee's Farm LLC to operate a mobile vending trailer business in the public Grasshopper Parking Lot located at 201 Northwest F Street.
We have a motion on the table. We have a second. Rick? Okay, so it's been motioned and second to deny the license for Mama Bee's, and there's any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Indra? Sorry.
Yes.
Victoria?
Yes.
I don't mean to skip you, Victoria. You just jumped in my head real quick there. Okay, motion to deny the license passed. And just to remind you, a lot of the discussion, I think, tonight and from the applicant was there was a greater purpose for bringing this forward to us, so it might be a topic for discussion later in matters for mayor and council. Moving right along to the next resolution. Resolution approving commercial activity in Riverside Park for the Medicine Show Revival. And I'll hand the podium back over to Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. So the request tonight before you is to approve a commercial activity permit for the Medicine Show Revival in Riverside Park. Relationship to your council goal to encourage economic opportunities by encouraging community events within our parks. So a bit of background, Elated Family LLC is the applicant that has approached the Parks Division. This is in partnership with the Rogue Valley Independent Educators, which is a nonprofit business, and they have requested Riverside Park to host a community educational and networking event. They have submitted a commercial activity application form. For the counselors that have been here for a while, you may recall that the city did amend its municipal code a couple of years ago to address these larger commercial type activities that are in our parks. So there is some specific language that addresses this kind of request. They are proposing the event for April 20th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The section of code that I mentioned is in Title 6, 46.110. It specifically says it is unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation to solicit, advertise, or peddle for commercial purposes within the boundaries of such city parks, either by word of mouth, printed matter, or other forms of commercial soliciting, advertising, or peddling, unless otherwise provided for by written agreement with the council of the city. So we basically define the commercial piece. If are you selling a product and you are not associated with, for example, Boatnik or one of the larger ones where there's a kind of a larger agreement in place. A few details about the event. They estimate 150 folks. It would be family friendly is what their application says. Vendors providing retail merchandise, prepackaged foods, educational workshops. They are proposing live music from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. No alcohol. Cost implication, there is a reservation fee for Riverside Park for this type of event of $355.50. So the call to action is tonight. Your alternatives allow the commercial activity in Riverside Park. You could choose not to allow the activity, and there's a potential motion there.
Thanks, Brad. Questions for Brad? Rob, and then Rick.
What in the world is this event? I have no idea what it is. Do you know?
It's a first. The application is in your packet. That's all the information that we received.
Well, I read the information. I still don't know. Maybe there's somebody here tonight who's going to explain it. When it says a family-friendly event, I know a lot of things nowadays are defined as family-friendly events. It's just about any. There's every dispensary has family-friendly events now. So I just have no idea what this is. But does anyone know?
Do we have a representative from the applicant? No.
Does not appear that we have an applicant here.
Thank you. Rick and then Kathleen. Oh, sorry, Kathleen, you had some pertinent information.
Well, I don't have a question, but I Googled to see what these events were going to be, and the medicine show is about a alternative medicine type presentations that they're going to present to the community. And then the, let's see, what were they called? The hosting that they had with it, the Rogue Valley Educators. They are a homeschooling type, Rogue Valley Independent Educators is like a homeschooling type organization, and they are supporting this business or these conservative alternative medicine.
Thank you, Kathleen. Rick?
So the questions I have, do they charge to come to the show, or how is it commercial, or are they just selling their products, or are they selling CBD, or what are the, where does the commercial come in?
Right, the commercial parts comes in with having vending tables that would be at the event where they would make various products for sale.
And do we know what those products are?
No. At least I do not. The application is there, and that's all the material we have.
I'm not seeing.
Obviously, they have to comply with city code in terms of what they sell. I mean, they're not going to be able to sell illegal products.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Brad? Seeing none, thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we will open it to the public. If anybody wants to step up to the podium and voice their opinion in favor or against this topic. Seeing nobody, oh, there we go.
Isn't that Easter Sunday?
The 20th of April? I'm not sure. It is. Okay, for clarification, that date that they're asking for is Easter Sunday. Thank you. Seeing no more comments from the public, we'll bring it back to council for discussion or action. I know you still might have a bunch of questions, but if you do have too many questions, there is a motion that you can put forth. Yeah. Go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, from researching both organizations that are participating in this, it seems perfectly fine to me.
Seems right. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, researching both of these organizations that are putting this on, it seems perfectly fine to me, and it could be listed as a family-friendly event.
Okay, Rick?
I guess I have additional questions as what the actual products apparently have mentioned. Acupuncture, and I don't have a problem with that, but I guess I feel I would like to know the full scope. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Joel?
I don't know what I'm voting for. I need some new I need additional information.
So as the way it's been presented, you have an action on the table right now with an application to take over the park on the 20th of April for an event that is very loosely defined in the application. Victoria?
I wonder if there would be any time for this organization to redo, or if you could contact them to provide further information, and then we could try and fast track that so that they could get it on the date that they requested. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Rob?
So I just heard from the audience that that's Easter Sunday. And in the past, at least some years, we've had some kind of Easter egg hunt or whatever in that park. Is that not correct? So I'm just wondering if we have a conflict of the area that these people might want to be occupying with what we've had as a traditional event. So I'm not sure if who would be able to answer that, and I'm not sure what area specifically they're requesting, but it seems like the Easter egg deal was the real thing. Is that not correct? So I wouldn't be in favor of displacing the Easter egg hunt in favor of whatever this might be, but I would be willing to hear more from these people. I mean, it's got an interesting name, but I really don't know what they do, and I'm not in favor of displacing the Easter egg hunt for a poorly defined event.
So Rob's brought up a very good point. We could have a conflict of events. Any other discussion? Okay, then we would be looking for some action here. Basically was as recommended by staff, you can approve this special use of the park, or you can deny it, or something or other. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I move to approve the resolution allowing commercial activity in Riverside Park for the Medicine Show Revival.
Okay, there's a motion on the table to approve the application for use of the park. Is there a second? Eric seconds. Any further discussion? Rick?
I'm feeling tonight, I don't have adequate information to go one way or the other. The motion on the table at the moment, I will not be supporting, but I would be in favor of tabling it if the motion does not go forward. Thank you.
Seth?
Yeah, I would be in favor of tabling as well. We're voting not only to allow it, but based on their criteria, right? So if you're planning an event, I think there needs to be a little bit more definition of what's going on.
Any further discussion? Say we have a current motion on the table with a second. The motion is to approve the application for use of the Riverside Park for this event. Rob?
So maybe someone can advise me on procedure here, but if this gets voted down, it's done, we can't table it. Is that correct? Now, if Kathleen were to rescind her motion, we could potentially table it. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah, or you can deny it tonight, amend the motion that you're, yeah, I would just table it. That's probably the cleanest.
So she would have to rescind her motion if we wanted to table it.
Yes.
Because once it gets voted down tonight, it's done.
Then it's done, yeah.
Thank you.
But if it is voted down, they can reapply, correct?
Well,
That's kind of messy.
yeah, that's messier because you've already taken action to deny the event.
Okay.
And normally you don't come back with that for another 6 months.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense. So with that information on the table, Kathleen, I'll leave it to you. Would you like to amend your motion or go forward?
Well, it sounds like there's more people not in favor of it, so I will rescind my motion and table it.
So would you like to amend your motion
Amend my motion to
table to a further date?
To a further date.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the original motion to approve, to amend the motion to table this application to a further date. We have a second from Eric. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go into a roll call vote. Indra, you still there? Okay, Indra's out. Thank you, Indra. Victoria? So we are voting on a motion to table this.
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Motion to table this application passes. Okay. Give me 1 second and we will move on to the next. Where is my, okay. Okay, now we come to the point in the night where we're going to open to public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the city council on items not related to a public hearing or a council action item for the council. The intent is to provide information that is pertinent to the city's jurisdiction. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the council as one body, not two individuals. The meeting will proceed in an effective and courteous manner. Citizens and council members will be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free from slander, threats, and other personal attacks. Signs or placards, outbursts of applause, campaigning for public office, or other disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. If you have a question regarding any government-provided service or current city policy, please contact the city manager's office in an attempt to resolve the matter. We have a number of blue cards that were submitted previously, and so we'll just start. We have Victor, and I think Victor might need a quick hand. You got it? Okay. We can offer you a handheld mic if you like, sir.
I got it.
Okay, perfect.
I can still stand, I got one leg still.
Oh, good, good. All right.
Thank you, Trader.
Start with stating your name and then go for it, buddy.
My name is Victor Kesterson.
I'm a native of Grants Pass here. We are under attack from Russia and India, the black web. The president has even said they've obtained public official jobs like police. They're attacking me with microchemical attack. I've got a colostomy bag to this day. You just look at the colostomy bags, the number of them, 15 million cases a year in our country from attack from the Soviet Union with a microscopic chemical attack. They've attacked me with satellites, 5G me with satellites, heat me up. You people need to do your damn job. Activate the damn military. It's that serious. Our people are dying. You need to activate the military. This is the headquarters of the dark web. That cop right there is head of them. All the police ask him, what county and which state were you born in, officer? What county and which state were you born in?
Okay, Victor, you're kind of singling out people. You're supposed to be general comments. Are you good?
I'm good.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time.
I'm dead serious, guys.
Okay, so we have Jerry? Yes, sir.
That's me.
Step on up and restate your name and go for it.
Jerry
Thank you.
Portapazzi. I'm from out in Selma. I'm in the county, but I was a Grants Pass caveman, and I figure that qualifies me. I just wanted to offer my services, if I could, because it seems like there's a lot of wheel spinning here and a lot of money being wasted on some of the homeless folks, and I know that's a pretty big issue for everybody. So what I'm proposing is there's some skilled help in this room probably. I'm retired millwright. I can cut and weld and stack connexes or whatever. I'm just throwing some ideas out there hoping something will stick, because you know better than I do, this is a huge problem. A lot of money's being wasted. A lot of lives are at risk, and not in the least are the people that are in a fishbowl on 6th and 7th Street in a cattle pen being mocked and ridiculed, and it's a Supreme Court case, and they got a case, and it's going to cost more money if we don't do something quickly, efficiently, expeditiously. It needs to get done instead of all this. You know what I mean? I respect and appreciate all the work that's being done. I could have solved this last week, and it would have been too late then. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir, to you guys and myself, but I just had to come because I've been back home. This is my home. I've been back home, retired, and a lot has changed, and I want that to change for the better, quickly. Put them by on track, give them some help, give them some counseling, give them a temporary place to stay, but use that lot that's been developed into a manufacturing facility for tents or tiny houses or stacked connexes. Give them some skills. Problem solved.
Thank you, sir. You actually might want to talk to that gentleman right back there, Jeremy. Dale. I don't. Yep, Dale, Adric, come on up.
Dal Aldridge, City of Grants Pass. God, I just went blank. We don't have a homeless problem, we have a drug problem. You all know that. We have a treatment center getting ready to open. I'm looking forward to being there when that opens, getting those 15 beds, and give the chief some power to say jail or rehab, which one you want. I want to thank the chief. He has got a hell of a job. The other day, I actually was in fear of my life with a shirtless guy, wouldn't leave our property, and he just yelled and screamed, and when he went after me, I immediately called 911, and 10 minutes later, police was there. And thank you, Chief. You got a hell of a job. I don't know how you do it. I have so much respect for you, you wouldn't believe. You know, I hear so many people beating you up, saying, dude, you're doing your job. You got those people into those 2 camps, and it's been wonderful. I wake up every day and live in this paradise we have. Grants Pass has got such beautiful parks, and for the first time in a long time, there's no tents in any of them. We went through all the tents today, all the parks today. There wasn't any tents in them, and it was such a nice feeling. Now, I know that you guys are doing your best. Just be aware, put your lawyers to work at it. They're looking for money. They're people those 5 people that are on ADA, I've never heard of an ADA tent yet, so it's kind of weird, but those 5 people, they came to our protests, and I'm going to own this town. I've got to make some money. So be aware of that on the back door. Pay it a little bit, because you always do. When you put 10 lawyers in one place, you're going to get 10 different opinions. So stick to your guns, guys. You're doing a great job getting this town corralled and done, okay? Treatments are right around the corner, and hopefully we'll all enjoy a park. I have to say one thing. Right after our rainbow and cleaning the first time in Riverside Park, to see people go over and play the Frisbee golf course was so rewarding, to know that that area is all clean. There's no needles, no foils. Surprising what you saw in that one picture. There's a whole nother picture I haven't put up yet. Thank you.
Thanks, Dale. Mike Pelfrey?
Mike Pelfrey, City of Grants Pass. I'm going to read a definition of feral. It says, existing in a wild or untamed state, having returned to an untamed state from domestication. So the reason I'm reading that to you is that the judge that allowed our parks to be taken over by the homeless, you know, not all of those folks in there are what we would consider as traditional homeless. We have classes of homeless, just like we have classes of people. And there are a tremendous amount of feral humans in our community. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's the truth. I took a walk the other day at Tussing Park, and as I walked across the bridge, I came across a very unsightly sight of someone having relieved themselves of their bodily functions right there on our pedestrian bridge. Now, you and I know that the pedestrian bridge is an iconic piece here in our community. I mean, I live right next to it, and I meet people all the time that visit here, and that's one of the places they come to visit because they can see the beautiful river. It connects two parks. But what that judge did was he turned these people loose back into our parks, and yet there's not a restroom anywhere near Tussing Park. And why is that? And yet, at the edge of the bridge is a brick and mortar restroom that has been shut down since 2019. I know this for a fact. And yet, the homeless people, or I should say the feral population of homeless people that were living in that park, decided to use our pedestrian bridge as their personal restroom. Now, if a visitor is coming to visit our town and decides to come to the beautiful, iconic pedestrian bridge, and they see that, what vision do they take back with them? It's not very good.
Thanks, Mike. Catherine Hamilton?
Catherine Hamilton County. I know you guys it's chaos. The whole situation is chaos. Every day it's a different, what is it today? Is today up? Is today, can't they be in the parks? We don't know. I'm sure most of you are wondering the same things at times. What is the newest rule, law, whatever? What I haven't heard being brought up is Riverside now and All Sports Park cannot have tents. Awesome, great. I know you guys, you can't be buddy-buddy with the judge, ask any questions. Keep them out of parks near schools. I know it's heartbreaking to see the camps on 6th and 7th. Our main thoroughfares, tourists, people in general don't want to see them, but they were away from schools. And I'm sorry to be that way. We've all seen the newspaper reports of people that should be locked up that were in parks near schools, and it's scary. It's scary to me. I've got my son in school, and it's a scary thing. I know the teachers last year, the principal last year was putting extra people on. That's a drain on the school. So far, it's been really cool, but as things start getting kind of crunchier, and depending on what comes down, I just would like, like 1,000 yards away from any school. Whatever comes down. And as far as the ADA thing goes, you guys got 2 stalls in this women's. One is ADA, one's not. I don't know, I would like to know how much you have to have for ADA. 5 people are suing, you guys are supposed to have 10 acres for them? What's up with that? Is there any breakdown? Thank you.
Marlo? Marlo Hillagas? No? Okay, moving on. Brenda Sisson?
Thank you very much, Brenda Sisson County, but I use Grants Pass all the time, and I observe the sidewalks and the storefronts and the awnings, the whole thing. And I mentioned it at the last meeting, but I was asking for like maybe a month of cleanup. This one is possibly, since that didn't go very well, maybe you could just send out to the merchants of the stores an invitation to go out and look at the front of their stores and look at their sidewalks. They need to be sprayed washed. They need to be cleaned up. The awnings are dilapidating, they're moss overcovered, and they're just grime. You can't even know what color they are anymore. If you really look at the exterior of the stores going down the streets, it's not very pretty. It's ugly how dirty it is, if you really look at it. And after it gets all cleaned, and the volunteer of the merchant that would, spend a couple hours out in the front of their store, make it sparkle and make it clean. And I think it would show a lot more pride in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our portion of the public comment. And next on the agenda is a consent agenda. So I'd be looking back to council for action. Possible motion. Rick?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the consent agenda as listed, items A, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, excluding B, as that has already been addressed. Do I have a second? Kathleen, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, go into a roll call vote. Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes?
Victoria?
Yes.
And Indra has left us, so consent agenda passes. Thank you. Now we're open up for matters for mayor, council, and staff. Victoria?
I would like to put forth with, I don't know if I just need 2 other counselors or if it needs to be a motion, but I would like us to set aside a time soon for us to go into executive session to pursue the land for Built for Zero. So I guess that might be a question for Aaron. Does it need to have 2 other counselors or be a motion?
Yeah, you can go ahead and make a motion, and we'll put that on a future agenda. Or you can do it through a normal agenda setting and,
With 3 people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I would ask for at least 2 other counselors to ask for the same thing.
Looks like you got 3 or 4 there, 5, so.
so we'll schedule an executive session for, with regards to acquisition of property.
All right, thank you. Anybody else to the council? Rob?
Yeah, let's see. So on Monday, I brought up the point of asking for reconsideration and vote for one of the budget committee positions, and I wanted to clarify what my concern was on Monday.
I'd like to make a point of order. I believe that Rob did not vote for this particular appointment, and I was under the impression that he wouldn't be able to bring forth anything one way or the other, so that's my point of order. I think Rob may be out of order here.
Okay. I actually hadn't gotten there yet, and I believe it was you in an email, Victoria, requested that you wanted a public statement for me to clarify what I had said on Monday. You did request that I clarify what I said on Monday, is that?
That's not exactly what I said, but
Oh, what did you say? So I was just going to clarify, because it seemed as though Mrs. Schloegel took offense to what I said, so I was trying to clarify what my statement was for that purpose.
So to address Victoria's point of order, you're actually going to make a statement. You're not going to recall for to be as you did previous. So you're making a statement. I'm just trying to help smooth this on here.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely. So there's really no point of order involved here. So anyway, on Monday, I was concerned about the what I consider to be ethical dilemma in the process of the appointment, and I had considerable concern about that. The ethical dilemma that was posed by a city councilor voting to appoint their spouse to a city committee that provides advice to the council. If that was, I had no issue with the candidate at all, and I hope that's clear. It was the process. At no time did I state or imply.
I have to state another point of order. We know that there was nothing wrong with that vote, so I'm stating a point of order. Rob is out of order in stating that there was something wrong with that vote. We have been told through emails that there was nothing wrong with that vote, and to further litigate it here on the dais is wrong.
So I have the floor, and I believe I was just interrupted because there was no reason for that, Clint. Clint, you're on the hook here because I was explaining why I said what I said, because someone seemed to be insulted, a member of the public seemed to be insulted. I wanted to make sure, and she, in an email to me, and I believe the whole council saw, she was very upset and felt that she had been disparaged.
Okay, let me weigh in then.
Make very clear that that was not what I was concerned with.
Let me weigh in. So I understand Victoria is throwing a point of order, saying that you actually can't readdress the appointment of the committee member to the budget committee. You are making a statement in regards to clarification. Is that correct?
That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Until I was interrupted, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed, please.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I wanted to apologize for any possible misunderstanding. Again, I was talking about the process, not the person. It is typically councilors recuse themselves on discussions and votes where the likelihood or just the appearance of a conflict. That didn't happen here. And I would, in the future, hope that before any counselor would ever vote, take part in a vote that would appoint their spouse to a committee, that they would take that into consideration, because there is a very definite ORS that prohibits that. No, and it's very, very clear. Thank you.
Any other matters for mayor or council? Anybody else? Joel, and then Eric.
I just had an observation. I've been involved with a lot of public conflicts, not only on my job, but as a consultant across the country. And where we're at right now in our public conflicts and the chaos is not uncommon. And the energy level rises, and it's the energy that's needed to resolve the problem. And if we can sit back and listen to each other with respect, and if we can call upon all our resources, and a good example is the Detroit school system. They lost all their industry base. All their parents were, a lot of them were on drugs, and the kids were abandoned. And Kellogg's came in, General Mills came in. They helped resolve the problem, but there was a lot of chaos in between. So right now you're experiencing the chaos, and it's the storming before the forming. And it's a necessary step, and we'll get there. So keep the faith.
Thank you, Joel. Eric?
Councilor Pell, I think I heard an apology there for disparaging my wife's honor and her ethics, which she's got a pristine record. As you were aware, everybody else on council was given a write-up by our lawyer. Basically, the only thing that was done improperly was I asked a question, and that I shouldn't have done. Other than that, voting for my wife was not an ethical issue. Therefore, the only thing I did was ask a question provided by the city, and that was the only mistake made, essentially. Other than that, there's nothing wrong with the appointment of my wife. She is a perfectly ethical person, and I think I heard an apology there as well, but I'm not sure. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other further matters? Victoria?
During the explanation on the dais, and people can play it back on video, Councilor Pell reiterated the sentiment that there was something wrong with Councilor Schlogel voting for his wife. He knows this to be false because we were given an email, as Councilor Schlogel just said, stating it was perfectly all right. He shouldn't have asked a question. Those are two different items, and so on the dais again, he is further, in my opinion, not only not apologized, but further disparaged Councilor Schlogel. And it's just wrong because these things get out, and they shouldn't. And so there was not respect shown here for other councilors. There was only a desire to pontificate on his wishes about how things should be done in the future, which could have been done in private and not on the dais. So I wanted to point that out because we have to listen to a lot of Councilor Pell's pontificating about
Okay, Victoria, I'm going to have to stop you right there because we're kind of getting over.
You're
we're
absolutely
going over
right.
the board here.
Thank you.
This, I
But
believe
he
personally.
should have apologized.
I'm going to make a call right here. I believe that everybody has aired their opinion here, and from Eric's statement, I believe he's sufficed with this. So as far as I'm concerned, we're going to move on from this topic because it's starting to get a little too hot for my taste here. So any other counselor want to weigh in on anything for tonight? Rob?
Yeah, so this has come up in the past often, and again, and I address this to Aaron, our email system is terrible, and that's putting it nicely. We actually got, there's for counselors that maybe don't know it yet, if you don't check the junk email regularly, you're going to miss a lot. We got an email this afternoon about one of the issues that came up tonight that ended up in the junk file. We actually have a couple of emails in the junk file right now. We had, I'd say in the last month, there's been at least 10 that were highly pertinent to actions that council had taken or were considering that are in the junk file. And I'll just give you another examples. We actually have a committee chairman in town. Now, obviously, the city has that person's email because at least once a month they email them. And so that's a safe email considered. That committee chairman actually emailed the council on a Friday. We got that email. That same committee chairman from the same email account emailed the council on a Sunday, and it went to junk, which is absurd. I have emailed from my own personal email account to the city council probably half a dozen times or so. I did it fairly recently, and it went to junk from my personal email to a city email. So the city email system is terrible. It's not reliable. There's a lot of members of the public that say they don't get any responses when they send things to council. And some of the time, it's because we never get them in our inbox. And on the Times especially, and I can remember one time when Jerry Meredith, who had sent us emails, and it was a known quantity, then one email that came from him went to junk. Councilor Juncker, former Councilor Juncker, a few days after he was off council, from his personal email, sent to us, it went to junk. This is terrible. And it's really terrible that we're not getting emails from our constituents that are applicable to our business. And there has to be an improvement.
Are you talking about the one, like I get some through and they get flagged, like because I haven't got any email from that, so it flags it, but it still comes up? Is that what you're talking about too?
I'm talking about
it
ones
just goes
that
straight to your junk?
They end up in the junk file,
Okay.
at least my junk file as a counselor, and I would never see it unless.
Oh, I don't even think I've even checked my junk file, so I don't even know.
There's going to be, there'll be two from today. There'll be two from today. That's my point. Is
be like
I might be the only
presents,
one up
right?
here that knows you have to do that to get all your emails.
Okay.
You know, and there's two from today alone, and but it happens regularly,
Okay.
and it's pertinent very often. And then also many times the public.
Well, that would be a pretty break in communications, maybe something that we should look at.
Yeah, I've looked, and Councilor Pell and I have had this discussion before, and so even my personal email, if I accidentally sent something to a staff member on my personal email from my phone and it never got to them because it went to junk. So we're at a point where we've tried to do research and try to figure out what to do to try to alleviate that. We as staff have to look at our junk because of that also. It's almost a necessity of having these barriers and barricades from people coming in and doing harm. I will readdress it again with IT, but the last time I readdressed it a few months ago, we were at a point where IT did not feel comfortable releasing any additional barriers because of the risk it would cause us. So if council is truly not happy with that, we can look at, and we've tried to look at other spam filters, and they'll do something similar. I would feel comfortable having a workshop on this, if you so desired, with our IT, and have a discussion on risk management. And I want to make sure I follow what our IT department is recommending to keep this system safe.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then maybe in the meantime, if council does feel that necessary to go forward into a workshop, we can do that. But in the meantime, just as Rob is suggesting, please be due diligent and check your junk mail. Like, I didn't even know I had that, so.
Just want to add one other thing. I understand that whatever filters have to be set to keep the system safe. What I have trouble understanding is why the inconsistency. Why, when we get an email from a safe sender on a Friday, on a Sunday, the next email would then go to junk, and that person has no idea, the council has no idea because we haven't seen it, the person doesn't know that we haven't seen it. So lately I've been, trying to respond to everybody to make sure that they see it. And, but the inconsistency to me, that to me doesn't sound like it's professionally at its best, quite frankly.
Yeah, the inconsistency occurs when it may be a chain and it's someone that is a familiar and it has cleared before, but as soon as a word or a certain phrase gets put into the email, it gets flagged as a potential issue. So that does occur sometimes also.
Yeah, because I believe your barriers are not a human being doing the barriers. They're an algorithm or something in the computer that's basically doing it. Seth, you want to weigh in?
I'm just going to say that this is a problem not just in city government. This is corporations. I mean, I have many clients where this happens. So I get the concern, but it's a never-ending issue. So
It's not a me problem? All right, anybody else? Okay, I'll bring it back to staff. Does any staff have anything to add in?
Yes, I do. I'd like to propose a modification to our training that's scheduled for the 10th. And doing additional research, talking with League of Oregon Cities, they have some trainings. We're going to have them come in and do some of the ethics training and public meetings law training that we're going to do on the 10th. I was going to be facilitating that because LOC couldn't get to us until May. With further research, we believe the council's best time spent for this would be in two things. There's a new law that's come into play that requires all elected officials to take certain training. That's public meeting law and ethics. Unfortunately, LOC, myself, are not credentialed facilitators. Even LOC is not. You have to go through the agency themselves. The good news is there's two ways to do this. From an ethics training standpoint, the ethics is available on demand through an ethics commission website. So you'll be able to, and you'll be required to, and we'll set it up to where you'll go in and you'll have to do an online webinar training. And then the public meetings law is available through a live webinar, and there's courses coming up April 1st, April 9th, April 12th, and April 17th for certification. So we'll get you an email. We'll give you how to get online to take those two trainings, and we'll be able to accompany the trainings that you were concerned with for the 10th. So I think your time would be best spent doing the certifications.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions in regards to that? Eric, you have a question?
Question, more of a statement. So I've already signed up for OGEC, the one in April, late April for that course, but it is backed up. I just wanted to make sure everybody understands. Sign up today, that way later on, you're not waiting too long to get signed up because they are very backed up.
Thanks for that, Eric. Seth?
So is anything changing for Monday, or is it, I guess?
So based on that, there would not be a necessity to have a meeting on Monday. So the Monday meeting would be canceled because you're going to use your time to take these two trainings
Okay,
instead.
that's what okay. So no meeting Monday.
Perfect. Just to reiterate, no meeting on Monday. You're going to do it on your own. Any other staff? Okay. With that, I would looking for a motion to adjourn. Seth?
I motion to adjourn tonight's business meeting.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn tonight's business meeting. You want to do a thumbs up, Rick? Rick wants to do a thumbs up, so there you go. Looks like everybody's on board. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your time.